This is for Black History, um, Black Trailblazers in blue. This is Officer William Johnson. Black History, Officer William Johnson, February 1st, 2021. I'm late doing my Black History um, for February. The first black officer to die in the line of duty, EOW, which is end of watch, April the 12th, 1870. Our Black History series began with a connection between Black History and the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. Today we honor Officer William Johnson. Let's see. Get it in here. Get it straight. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. It says, our Black History Month series began with a connection between Black History and National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. Today we honor Officer William Johnson, who, according to our records, is the first African American officer to die in the line of duty as a law enforcement officer. His name is etched along the name of over 22,000 fallen officers on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, due to the 150 plus year gap between the date of Officer Johnson's death and today, not much is known about Officer Johnson during his career. However, we are going to do our best to tell his story, as his sacrifice deserves to be honored. And that is Officer William Johnson's name etched on the walls in D.C. Officer William Johnson served with the Jacksonville, Florida Police Department and was sworn in on any unknown date in 1863. 2 years into the American Civil War, during the Civil War, Florida was part of the American Confederacy and seceded from the Union on January the 10th, 1861. Throughout the war, and ultimately after the Confederacy demise, the city of Jacksonville saw itself occupied by Union forces until 1869. Because of the occupation of the city, law enforcement was controlled by the Union Army rather than a local sheriff before the Civil War. Beginning in 1845, a town ordinance required all free men in the city of Jacksonville to participate in evening patrol duty. Since Officer Johnson was sworn in as an officer in 1863, prior to the Union Army occupation and after the passing of the town ordinance, it is likely that he was a free man rather than enslaved man. Officer Johnson's watch was unfortunately short-lived. as he died in the line of duty on April 12, 1870, the same month when Dave Pettis became the city's first ever African American elected to the city to the city's office of the Board of Police Commissioners. By the end of the 19th century, the Jacksonville Police Department would be composed primarily of African American officers. Officer William Johnson's career as a Jacksonville police may have only lasted 7 years, but his legacy lives on in Washington, D.C., where his name is immortalized on the stone walls of the memorial that sits proudly across the street from the museum. Officer Johnson earned his place on the wall when he responded to a call for service where he encountered a very strong and intoxicated male. Johnson earned his place on the wall when he responded. Oh, I read that already. A very strong and intoxicated male. Let's see. The man picked up Officer Johnson and threw him to the ground, causing fatal injuries which led to his death. 2 days later, he was only 35 years old. Due to the era in which he served, we do not have any verified photographs of Officer William Johnson, but his sacrifice is fondly remembered by his department and the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. This Trailblazers in Blue is created in partnership between the National Law Enforcement Museum and the National Black Police Association, to celebrate the triumphs of African American leaders in law enforcement. So this is Officer William Johnson.